Rain splattered down over the city like needles. The traffic was crawling, honking echoed from every direction, and amidst the chaos, one gleaming red Ferrari sat idly on the roadside, its hood up, engine dead. Inside the car, Alexander Knight, one of the youngest billionaire CEOs in the country, was furiously tapping on his phone. His driver was off duty, and he'd insisted on driving himself for once, of all days. He had a board meeting in 20 minutes and no patience left. A knock on the passenger window made him jump. Standing outside was a young woman, soaked, with grease-stained jeans and wind-tangled hair. She looked like she belonged in a mechanic's garage, not on this high-end street near the financial district. "Do you need help?" she shouted through the rain. Alexander narrowed his eyes. "I'm fine," he snapped, lowering the window just enough to be rude. "Back off. This car costs more than your life savings." She blinked at him, unfazed. "Okay, Mr. Ferrari. I'm just saying your engine's steaming, and if you keep trying to start it, you'll fry the electronics." He rolled his eyes. "Thanks for the street advice. I've got it under control." She shrugged and started to walk away, but the engine let out a loud clunk, smoke curling upward. He groaned, then opened the door. "Wait." She turned slowly, arms crossed. "You think you can fix it?" he asked reluctantly. She walked up without another word, rolled her sleeves, and peered under the hood. "You flooded it," she said simply. "And your spark plugs are soaked." He watched her work with swift, efficient movements, brushing water off the wires, pulling tools from a small bag she carried, and fixing things with the grace of someone who wasn't just good, but brilliant. Within 5 minutes, she wiped her hands on her pants. "Try it now." Alexander hesitated, then turned the key. The engine roared to life like a beast awakening. He stared at her. How do you know this?" "I'm a mechanic," she said simply. "Well, part-time now. Day jobs at a coffee shop across the street. We see a lot of cars break down here." He stepped out of the car, feeling ridiculous in his tailored suit and $1,000 shoes. "What's your name?" "Maya," she replied, giving him a half-smile. "Don't worry. I won't charge you for the rescue." He pulled out his wallet. She shook her head. "Not everything's about money." That stung, especially from a stranger who just embarrassed him without trying. "Fine," he muttered. "Thanks, Maya." She nodded and walked away, disappearing into the rain. The next morning, Alexander was sitting at his office, staring at the security footage of the building across the street. He couldn't get her out of his head. Maya, the mechanic barista. By 2 p.m., he caved. He walked into the tiny coffee shop, and there she was, hair tied up, apron around her waist, laughing with a customer. She looked completely different from yesterday, warm, grounded, alive. When she saw him, her expression shifted. "Let me guess, your car died again." "No. I came to say thank you. Properly." She raised an eyebrow. "And to offer you a job," he added quickly. She burst out laughing. "Wait, what?" "I own Knight Motors," he said. "Among other companies. We need someone like you, someone who doesn't just follow manuals but actually understands machines." Her face sobered. "Is this your way of apologizing for being a jerk yesterday?" "Partly," he admitted. "But mostly it's because you're ridiculously talented, and I'm not used to people like you telling me no." She stared at him for a moment. "I'm not looking to be anyone's project." "You wouldn't be. You'd be staff. Respected. Paid, well. And if I say no, then I'll still keep coming here until you say yes." It took 2 weeks of persuasion, one late-night breakdown outside her building, which he swore wasn't planned, and a few more cups of terrible coffee. But eventually, Maya walked into Knight Motors in her greasy jeans and a new badge clipped to her shirt. She was assigned to a specialty team, high-performance engine design. Within a month, she was leading it. By month 2, the team was outperforming every other department. Alexander kept tabs, not because he didn't trust her, but because she fascinated him. She was unlike anyone he'd ever met, unbothered by wealth, unimpressed by power, and completely authentic. They didn't talk much at work, he kept it professional. But every now and then, he'd pass by her garage bay, and she'd glance up, smirk, and return to the engine in front of her. It drove him crazy in the best way. One evening, she was working late, covered in grease, when he showed up with 2 coffees. "I thought you hated coffee," she said. "I do. But I figured you'd still be here." She wiped her hands and sat on the workbench. They talked for hours. Not about work, or engines, or Ferraris, but about books, childhood dreams, regrets, and impossible hopes, and when she laughed, really laughed, something cracked inside him. A month later, at the annual night gala, she arrived in a black dress, her hair down, completely transformed. Everyone stared. Alexander couldn't breathe. "You clean up nice," he whispered when he reached her. She smirked. "You look like a guy whose engine I once fixed." They danced. Slowly. Closer. The world melted around them, and when he kissed her, it was like lightning in his veins, not just desire, but connection. Real. Raw. Undeniable. People talked. An employee dating the CEO. Scandalous, but Maya didn't care. And neither did Alexander. They fought sometimes. She was stubborn, he was controlling, but somehow, they fit. And one rainy morning, as they walked past the spot where his Ferrari had once broken down, he stopped and turned to her. "You changed everything," he said quietly. "You fixed more than just an engine." She smiled. "You weren't broken, Alex. Just idling." He pulled out a small velvet box. She froze. "It's not because you fixed my car," he said. "It's because you fixed me. Say yes." She laughed, tears shining in her eyes. "Yes," she whispered, and the city, for once, felt quiet, as if the world had paused to applaud the strangest, most beautiful love story that began with a Ferrari, a little arrogance, and a girl who refused to be underestimated.